Alright guys, welcome back to some more of the letter and its slow build up to some more scares coming our way. So I hope y'all are ready for this one, and with that said, let's keep this rolling. Alright everyone, we're back. Now it's a matter of deciding who I'm going to show that photo to. So, I think it's pretty obvious that if I show it to Hana, she'll be pretty spooked by it, and I don't know if that will affect her negatively. Most likely it will. If I show it to the non-believer like Ash, he might just wanna look into it a bit, and maybe he'll finally uncover some truth about the supernatural. So I'm probably gonna go with him. Safer bet in my opinion. Ash will give me flack for this. He will. I can already hear what he's gonna say about this the moment I bring it up. Hell, before he even sees anything, I'll wager. The guy is a skeptic through and through, and it'll take more than my account for him to even consider this. But when you've been there, seen something enough to raise the hairs at the back of your neck and leave you wanting to flee or hide, what he thinks is the least of my concerns. I'm no hero, that's a title best reserved for someone else. Still, if this'll help him change his mind, it's worth a shot. I was gonna say it's worth a shot. Let's go with it. It won't change what happened to Isabella, but she certainly won't wish for anything to happen to us either. Outside, the sun has yet to rise. I've still got a few hours before dawn, good enough time to mull over how I'll go about this with him, plenty of space to check if I'll get the same result if I redo the process again. The film processor hums back to life at my touch. The light switch gives out a soft click, and darkness embraces the small closet again.
Somehow those urban legends don't sound so silly now.
Sometimes I wish Ash would make himself easier to find. 24 messages, 13 phone calls, and one visit to his flat later, I still have no idea which rock in Luxborn he went off to hide under again. The guy has his own place but refuses to stay in it. Has his own phone but doesn't answer any of his calls or give any indication he's gotten my messages. Most of the time he'll just show up on my front door. Sometimes in the middle of the night complaining how uncomfortable it is to sleep at the back of his car, as if the old couch in my flat is any better. Nothing new from him though, but a bit frustrating really. There's the police precinct, of course. Then again, he's not there most of the time either, and if that's also true for today, he's likely out on another stakeout. There's nothing much to do for me but to wait if that's the case.
Let's just hope I'm lucky enough today.
While Luxborn is a relatively peaceful city boasting a low crime rate, its precinct stays abuzz with activity. As soon as I open the glass front doors, murmurs coming from the people waiting in the lobby welcome me. Officers can occasionally be seen shuffling in and out of the rooms, greeting civilians with a casual smile and a polite nod. Some, though, look a little worse for wear, like the receptionist who looked at me with much disdain the moment I arrived. Thankfully, I won't have to deal with him today. Before I can even step in, Ashton's voice, though low, comes from the hallway adjacent to the lobby.
Not even for just 1 minute?
No. The case was dismissed, remember?
You were the one handling that case.
If you want access to those records, you've got to ask Chief. I was taken off it before shit went to hell. Why do you even bother? Even Professor Clark seems to have given up on that.
Well, Never mind, you won't understand.
Right. I know you owe Professor Clark a lot, but the right guy isn't just someone you mess with. They've got the money. Who knows what else gets swept under the rug with them involved.
That takes a special kind of ignorant not to know.
And a smart person to know which boundaries he can't cross. You're a bright guy, you'll figure it out. In any case, I've got to get going. Another missing person case on my hand. Benjamin on the front desk looks like he's about to maul someone after the fourth one yesterday. Murders, people missing, what a time to be alive. Man, I miss the old Luxburn.
You and me both. I'll see you. Gonna go grab some lunch.
He notices me first as soon as he enters the lobby and pauses. Confusion briefly crosses his face until I fish out the phone from my pocket and wave it up. Frowning, he pulls his mobile out, wordlessly fiddling with it for a few seconds before sighing heavily. There ain't any annoyance in him when he glances up, only mild exasperation and what might be a hint of amusement. Although underneath all that, there's something else too. hiding subtly in the dark circles under his eyes, his slumped posture, and partly unkempt appearance.
Sorry, I haven't gotten a chance to check any of my messages yet. I was looking up something.
You sure you can still step out like that?
Yeah, no problem. I need to get out anyway. What are you doing here in the first place?
Well, I was hoping you could check something for me. But you don't appear to be...
He stops me with a tap on my shoulder, walks past me straight to the door, and gestures with his head towards their very irked receptionist when I raise an eyebrow in question.
Over lunch. I haven't eaten anything since last night, and Benjamin there doesn't really like loiterers around here.
Wordlessly, I follow after him, but not after sending the poor guy behind the table an apologetic smile. As expected, he takes a seat in the farthest corner of the cafe, a good way from the window, but easily allows a view of who comes and go. Secluded enough not to be disturbed by the lunch hour rush or be overheard by a curious bystander. If I didn't know this is lunch he invited me to, I would have automatically assumed I got dragged into another stakeout. After years of knowing him, though, this has simply become one of the many habits I've gotten used to. Ash letting out a long drawn yawns every few minutes, however, is a new thing. Even as food arrives minutes later, he stays distracted, his eyes distant, focused at some point on the table, and a frown creasing his eyebrows as if deep in thought. This while I'm left to grapple for a decent thing to talk about over the plate of vegetable quiche, his odd choice of cake for lunch, and the hubbub surrounding the two of us. Small talk has never been my strong point, and against everything sensible and wise in the world, I blurt out the first thing that pops in my head.
Any news about Bella's condition?
He pauses, the fork stilling halfway to his mouth. Ash is far from the most open person in the world. Even to us, the people he already let see past the cool and distant persona, there are some things he keeps safely tucked away to himself. In that one unguarded second, though, a pained expression shoots across his features. One he doesn't bother hiding under his usual mask of detachment. I'm not sure why, of all things happening right now, I find that alone unnerving.
No change since I left yesterday. Rebecca visited last night. Said something about an aunt taking things from here. I didn't hear most of it. I was needed back at the precinct, but I'll probably drop by again later to see if I can help.
I think it's the one who helped to get the job at BRC.
Really? I only just found out. I thought Isabella was living alone all this time. Well, I assume since Becca is her emergency contact.
She is living alone, technically. Her aunt's working pretty far from here. She only mentioned her in passing before. Can't very well help their family when her aunt has her own set of mouths to feed. Bella had to be the one to take the job. Something like that. And it ain't even like she'd want someone else to do the work. If she can, she'll do it herself.
She's stubborn, that's what she is.
You shouldn't talk.
He gives a non-committal hum and returns to his food. He hasn't even taken a bite when he lets out another yawn. They are both the same almost. I think either way, I want to say it won't matter, but I have a feeling it will. Like, this is one of these games where each choice has, like, whether it's something big or not, it still has an effect. Alright, let's go with the obvious.
Ash, when was the last time you slept?
There shouldn't be any need to ask him about this. In fact, I never have to. More than anyone, he knows his own limits. Now, the same person who once told me how important a sound and alert mind in his line of work appears dead on his feet. To be fair, Ash does think about it for several seconds before shrugging on one shoulder and digging the fork into his food.
I took a short nap in the break room.
For more than 4 hours, dude. Not a nap.
A few days ago? I don't remember. I got some sleep back at the hospital, though. Should be good.
That was 2 days ago.
He glances at me for a moment. He's aware I'm right. But when he proceeds to shove more food into his mouth, more forceful than necessary, I know he's not going to concede. I can't begin to see where this sudden pig-headed thinking is coming from. His tone is quiet when he speaks again, though, barely rising above the din of the coffee shop, but the resolution in it is deafening enough.
It doesn't matter. We could be in danger right now and not even know it. I need to get this mess sorted before anything else happens.
Let me check the relationship right now. Alright. Oh, we got low with Ashton. Well, I think we're going to get low with him either way because the two choices are not the type of choice that would raise him up, if anything. So it's fine. I think we'll be able to make choices that will bring him back up eventually.
Taking a day off wouldn't hurt.
His fork clinks loud enough against the plate for the sound to linger awkwardly between us.
Are you kidding me? While the one who ran her over is still out there? They left her lying in the road, bleeding, almost half dead. Now she's stuck in some damn hospital and may never wake up. I don't think so, Zach.
Are things really that bad?
You're looking at me right now? What do you think?
Cut back on the sarcasm, Ash. I really want to know what's happening here.
Ash drags both of his hands down his face and lets out a huff, weighted with every frustration he's carrying in him. For an instant, he opens his mouth to say something, probably to argue, but hastily decides against it.
Traffic cams were useless. And those were supposed to be high def to begin with. Damn, huge waste of taxpayers' money when we can't even use it when we need it. The people at Tech have been at it since we got hold of the footage, and all they managed to salvage with a scant few seconds before she crossed the road. How does that help?
Well, there must be some use in that alone. Like, maybe someone pushed her?
There was no one else. She just stopped right in the middle of the road. Just right in the fucking middle. It's like there was something there that prevented her from crossing. I just don't know what. Zach, Isabella's not that stupid. There was something there. That's what made her stop, and the traffic cams didn't catch it. Something.
Abruptly, he trails off and gapes at me with wide eyes as if something had just snapped properly back into place inside his mind.
Or someone. Someone was there.
Actually, if we're going to talk about someone, maybe this has something to do with it as well.
The expression on his face grows more puzzled with each photo I spread on the table. There's about 8 of them, all of it reprints of the same thing. Miss Wright's distorted head on the photos. He takes a minute to go through each, eyeing the prints warily. The furrow on his brow doesn't ease even as he gathers all of it into one pile and sets them into one neat stack in front of me with a heavy sigh.
Hannah Wright?
Yeah. How did you...
The locket. She never takes it off. Evan's family heirloom.
I wouldn't even think about asking why or how he knows that. If he's investigating them, he'll likely have already dug up every unimaginable dirt on them, including family history.
You never mentioned you got work from them.
Yesterday, yeah. It's just a small feature for a magazine. Interviews, photos, standard stuff, nothing big. But see, here's the thing. I don't know how else to put this out there without sounding crazy, but there really is something odd with that place. Remember the letter?
He drags in a breath, reaches up his nose and pinches it, like the action alone will help grant him all the patience in the world to continue this conversation.
Please tell me this isn't about that again.
No, Ash, you've got to listen this time.
I am listening, and I can't believe that just came out of your mouth. These are some blurred out photos, and that letter is just a stupid prank. I expected this from Isabella, not you. You're the photographer here. I don't see any need to get worked up over this.
I know what you mean, but will you hear me out first?
Ash leans back on his seat and doesn't say anything further. He gestures for me to continue with a wave of his hand, impatience clearly on his face. Any other person telling him this and he'll walk out without batting an eye. I suppose the only reason he's giving me the benefit of the doubt is because we know each other.
Ash, I don't easily buy into these things as much as you do. Yesterday, though, behind Hannah.
He blinks at that, his eyebrows lifting momentarily before settling into a deep frown.
Hannah? Since when were you on a first-name basis with the Wright missus?
Why does that even matter?
I thought you said this was just a gig.
His voice stays level, but the accusation in it is as clear as day. It hits a nerve in me somehow, more than that tone usually does. Okay, here we go again. You know, no matter what I pick here, he's gonna be suspicious. And he has every right to be, because as the readers here, we already know that there's something going on between him and Hannah. And it's only natural that an investigator like him will put 2 and 2 together. Alright. That's okay, let's see what happens in the relationship. And we lowered, yep, I knew it. Of all the things I said, my connection to the Wrights is the first thing he points out. As much as I want to keep my own annoyance at bay, I can't stop it from seeping into my voice.
That's completely beside the point here, Ash.
I warned you, Zach.
I get it, alright? But you can't just expect me to turn it down after I made a commitment to a client. I've got to put food on my table.
I didn't say you shouldn't, but you should not be messing with them.
I wasn't messing with them.
And this isn't?
He waves the photos in front of me before dropping the pile on the table with a loud smack. I don't need to look to know we've already attracted some attention from a lunchtime crowd. Besides, turning away from him feels almost the same as admitting he's right. There are things more important than his damn case right now. I wish he'd see that.
It was a job, and that ain't how these photos were intended to come out. You think I'd go out of my way just to edit something like this? There's something weird going on here.
Ah, that acting, man, that is incredible.
And you think Luke Wright will see it that way? You think the Wright missus will find it amusing?
I did not do this for my amusement, Ash. People's lives might be at stake here.
If you understood that in the first place, we wouldn't be having this stupid talk. Luke fucking Wright is a dangerous man, Zach. Keep hanging around them and you'll find yourself burnt to a crisp in your apartment or floating down a river 3 days later. This case is...
Will you stop talking about the damn case for once and just listen to me? Why do you think Isabella's...
Don't you dare bring her into this. We're talking about you and this stupid...
Oh, of course you don't want to talk about it. You can't figure out the bastard who did it because of your own fucking incompetence.
Ooh, this is, ooh. Every expression drains from his face as soon as the words are out of my mouth. You know, this wouldn't have been a problem if this guy would just let my boy talk. Just hear him out, man. But no, you had to turn this into a heated debate over the rights. They've hit their mark. Each utterance gauged sharp with nothing but anger and the truth. Yet they are also things I won't typically say out loud in good company and rather ease people into it before letting it fall. Almost immediately, a wave of regret washes over me.
Ash, dude, that ain't what I meant to...
You said enough, Zach.
Without another word, he stands, his chair scraping loudly against the floor, all while my brain races to find something to fix this. Ours ain't a fragile friendship by any means. I like to think we've gone past the stage when we find everything the other says insulting. But there are times when letters and phrases alone can cut deeper than any blade. Mine might even leave a scar. He doesn't let me, however. Instead, he sets a card in front of me. University of Luxembourg, Andrew Clark, PhD, Professor of Psychology and Ethnography. Department of Psychology, College Humanities and Sciences. The name is familiar, but amidst the cloud of remorse swirling inside my head, I can't bring myself to recall where I've seen it.
You shouldn't be running blind. Call this guy. He'll be less inclined to shout at you. Might even talk some sense into you.
You need to stop relying on psychologists and actually, for once, just let your head believe a little bit. Or not even believe, just be a little curious about it. It might help you. I don't see his face when he leaves, and it's only when the store's bell chimes again do I breathe. Of all the places, it never crossed my mind I'll end up wandering into the public library today, considering I rarely ever visited. Somehow, there has always been this kind of disconnect between me and books in general. Sure, some of them held my attention in my youth during the brief times of the day I was left to my own with nothing to do. I went through the whole of Grant's collection as a matter of fact. Read all of them twice or thrice even. But they never did hold for long. Most of it never even sticked. Especially after I learned it's simply easier to do things myself if I want to learn stuff. This ain't in the plan in the first place. But after that argument, I really don't have any other choice. Nothing but quiet greets me inside though. I get the feeling he's gonna have to do some research about the occult or something. Not the typical mum one would associate with a library, but one act into a hush prior to an impending trouble. Or perhaps I'm just overthinking again. I really like to think I'm just thinking too much about this, that this is just a lack of sleep talking. Regardless, part of the group of students murmuring in the corner somewhere, the place is free of its usual visitors. All while my footsteps echo in a matter of unsettling, enough to raise the hairs at the back of my neck. Ah, I cannot read today, guys. Much to my relief, it does not take me long to find him, being the only occupant in this side of the room. Professor Andrew Clark. I've never personally met the man, but Ash has spoken highly of him several times. In fact, he is Ash's go-to guy when something's troubling him with a case. My steps are unsure as I approach. At any rate, he greets me with a warm smile like a grandson he hasn't seen in a long time.
Ashton's friend, I take it. Zachary. You'll have to forgive this old man if I don't get your name right.
Oh no, you got it. It's Zach. Zachary Steele, Professor Clark.
He gestures at the empty seat across the table while he returns to his books. The next couple of minutes pass in relative silence as he continues to read and take notes from the pile he's accumulated on the table. Maybe I should have taken a book first before heading here. But before I can even get far into the idea, the professor clicks the book shut and sets the top to stack next to him.
Ashton told me you were hoping to get answers from me.
At my confused look, he lets out a small chuckle.
He sent a message ahead. A friend needs to have some sense knocked into him. In verbatim. That boy never changes.
I wasn't really expecting he'd do that.
Although I'm not quite sure what I could share, I'll do my best to help.
Of course, there are a lot of things I want to ask. How do we get out of this mess is the first among tens, hundreds of my concerns in my head. But in the presence of someone I barely know, the thoughts won't easily form. He is nothing but patient, however, and with enough time to mull over, a question finally forms.
Do you believe in the paranormal, Professor?
It's supernatural, actually.
Oh, he's one of those.
Don't worry. It's a common mistake to make. But they really are two different things. The other one deals with what we can't explain at the moment, while the other are things we may not have an explanation to. Here.
He places a couple of papers in front of me, the very same one he was writing on earlier. A study of Luxborn supernatural culture in a nutshell.
A friend of mine wrote that a few years ago. He took interest in the city after reading about the stories. I have to agree with him here. Even stories dealing with things you don't see with the naked eye can be rife with culture, and this city thrives on it. Just ask the locals.
Like ghosts, for example.
Among other things. The interpretation has changed over the years, though. Various religions, for example, have their own version. It might not always be a spirit now. It could be a memory, or an imprint, an echo, so to speak. Some are born from curses, even, out of great anger, hatred, or pain. There was this one story. Here it is.
Another book is pulled out from the stack and placed open atop of the papers, while he speaks with such passion that it makes me wonder if some part of him believes these to be true. It is interesting though, even if I'm personally not a fan of such stories. And soon hours pass without my notice.
In the end, it asked for something to be sacrificed in order to destroy whatever anchors the wraith. A sad tale, that one, but the simplest grudge can bring the ugliest, even in the kindest person, with some people none the wiser. Oh, I'm sorry, I just went on.
Nah, it's good.
Well, at least this professor here sounds open-minded than Ash is.
Are you familiar with the Ermengarde mansion, though?
Of course, that goes without saying. Who hasn't heard of the local legend? Although, word of the mouth is, someone has already bought it.
Ah, yeah. The right couple. It was a close friend who handled that sale.
So I heard. Well, don't think the house being bought by anyone would stop us from talking about it. What is it about the mansion, then?
I just want to ask what you think of it, sir.
We're going to need more than an afternoon for that, young man. You see, it's the kind that has changed over the years, passed down from one person to the next. Sometimes, it's the Lord William who haunts the place. There are versions where it's the lady of the house, but my favorite, a personal favorite, would have to be the ones that followed after the disappearance of the kind daughter.
Well, what about these then?
There is a moment of hesitation on my part before I pull out Miss Wright's photos and lay them all in front of him. Unlike Ash, though, the professor inspects each print with great interest. That gives me some hope, at least.
When were these taken?
Just the other day. Do you think those are the same?
Perhaps. Perhaps not. There were certainly instances when the film would pick up what the human eyes weren't able to see, but then it could also have been human error.
I didn't edit it in any way. You have my word on that, Professor. They all just came out like that.
Then, if it is what you're thinking, I'd strongly advise against doing something reckless and further tangling with them. Accounts about them may be riveting to you, but most of it often ends in an unpleasant manner.
What about those people in the house? If there is something in there, shouldn't they know? I'm sure they're already familiar with the legends, but...
Some people might deserve it, however.
Deserve what, sir?
All of a sudden, the tenderness in the professor's eyes disappears, his face becoming unreadable. Oh, that's never a good sign when their glasses is glazed over and you can't see their eyes. And the fact that he said that sometimes they deserve it means that there's probably some grudge he holds against either the right or the mansion itself, or maybe both. Oh man, maybe it was a bad idea to go to the professor and Ash is just... Ash doesn't know he's probably screwing us over too. Oh, we'll find out. As though catching himself, he hastily clears his throat, gathers his books, and rises from his seat. Yeah, this guy's a vendetta.
Professor?
I'm sorry. I just remembered something I neglected to do. You'll have to excuse me, Zachary.
All right. Do you need any help with that?
Don't let my looks fool you, son. I can still carry a few hundreds. I've been doing this for years. I'll see you some other time if you have any other questions.
Yeah, he's a little iffy right now.
Of course. It was nice knowing you, Professor.
He doesn't hear it, however. In a few short strides, he's out of the library, leaving me and every piece of this whole mess amidst the oppressive stillness. Despite the answers gleaned, more questions surfaced. If there's even a single way out of this, I hope we find it soon. The moon is well into the night sky by the time I make it back home. My heavy treads and the sound of traffic outside echoing in my ears, filling the empty room with some semblance of life. Nana would scold me if she ever hears me walk like that, but after today, I really can't give a damn about anything. The mattress creaks under my weight as I unceremoniously flop down on it, and I find myself looking at the paper under my grip. An invitation and a request to cover an event, the Wright's housewarming party, tomorrow evening. If only it were that easy, but it'll give me a chance to talk to her. About that thing in their house. With a sigh, I let my hand fall to the side of the bed along with the invitation. You know, I always find it funny that they always have to go back to the situation that led up to the whole problem or supernatural thing in the first place. Why do you keep coming back? Just stay away. I'll think about it tomorrow when my head ain't muddled with thoughts of a headless woman and the haunting smiles of a ghost. Belatedly, it occurs to me that the last meal I ate had been the one with Ashton. And an empty, gnawing ache makes itself known, but I can't bring myself to stand up. Today was a complete waste of time and, frankly, a disappointment. I don't like this. The lack of certainty, the disquiet, the lack of stable ground to stand on, the part where I do not know what will come tomorrow. Ever since that damn letter, everything has been thrown out of the loop. I wish everything stayed the same. Routine would have been easier to make sense of than this. Closing my eyes, I let the noise from the streets below lull me to sleep. At the very least, that's the one thing that hasn't changed. The melody carries into the hall long before I cross the threshold. Solemn but gentle and soothing, a reminder of what home is. Pa's firm but meaningful gaze, Ma's wistful smiles, the warm rays filtering through the eaves at sunset, and the distinct smell of wet earth leaves after a long day's rain in our room. The room, Ma and Pa's pride and joy, a place where we once promised several springs ago. Yet it won't stop.
No, wait! Come back! I'll be good this time! Please don't leave! Please stay!
The floorboards are cold under my feet more than it usually is, the walls more forbidding than what I'm used to. Farther and farther the room goes. Ma's singing ceases, and Pa, I can't hear Pa. Not above the raucous clanging and the deafening roar of gunshots, nor the screams replacing the comforting soft melodies. There's only the blinding fear. But when the light breaks, her skin has already taken a sickly pale color, rotten in the most parts, blood dripping from every open gash and lesion on her body. Bony hands grip Hana's neck like a noose, staining the skin underneath with a vibrant shade of scarlet. Nothing but malice fills the gleam in her eyes. A scream ripples through the air. My whole body feels distant, every limb heavy with lead, all unable to move at will. Not even so I can wipe the beads off sweat forming at my temple. The rasping of my breath easily fills the room in the wee hours while I force it back into a steady rhythm. There is a tightness in my chest I can't shake off, my heart pounding against it as if it's about to burst out. Something cold has settled in my legs. Not the usual chill that comes and goes with the passing breeze from the window, but one strong enough to sting, shackle, and leave a frigid sensation creeping up my skin. Oh man. Alright guys, I'm gonna have to end the video here for today. Thank you for watching. Until the next one.